Welcome to Daily Focus, and I am once again encouraged that you have joined me this morning, and we're looking forward to what the Lord has in front of us today. He is a God who cares, a God who loves us, a God who's in control, and we are just incredibly privileged to participate in His program. He's in charge, and He knows what's best. And we can trust Him with all of our heart and not lean on our own understanding, but in all of our ways acknowledge Him and His Word and His will. And He'll direct our paths. He promised to do that. And then He gives us this admonition in Proverbs 3:7. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord. In other words, let God be God and depart from evil. And so I hope that you'll live that way today. We're in Proverbs chapter 24, and Lord willing, we're going to finish this chapter today. It ends with a story that has an incredible lesson. We know that Jesus spent a lot of time when He was teaching His disciples, and He was teaching in His 3-year ministry He would use parables, and they simply were earthly stories with heavenly meanings. In other words, stories that they could relate to that would help them understand eternal truth. And so here in Proverbs, we have an illustration that we can all relate to, we all can understand, but it's teaching us an eternal spiritual truth. And so Proverbs chapter 24, and we'll start reading in verse number 30. I went by the field of the slothful, and by the vineyard of the man void of understanding. And lo, it was all grown over with thorns and nettles, and they had covered the face thereof, and the stone wall thereof was broken down. Then I saw and considered it well. I looked upon it, and received instruction. Yet a little sleep and a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep, so shall thy poverty come as one that traveleth, and thy want as an armed man. In other words, God concludes this by teaching us about how poverty comes. It comes as a result of spending and spending and spending. It comes as sometimes a surprise with the consequence. In other words, people who are irresponsible tend to think that consequences will never come. I think the greatest lesson that I learned years ago came from Proverbs 22:3, where it says that the prudent man foresees the evil and hides himself, but the simple are passed on and punished. In other words, the prudent or the wise man, the man who walks on the path of wisdom, he looks down the road and he sees what's coming. He prepares for what lies ahead. As it relates to finances, I've often used the illustration that the roof is not going to last forever. It is going to have to be replaced. So what are you doing this year to put aside money to repair and replace your roof? The refrigerator will not last forever. It'll last a while, but it won't last forever. Your washer and dryer are going to give out someday. Your hot water heater is going to explode and needs to be replaced, hopefully before it leaks all over the place. Your furnace, your air conditioner, they're not going to be there forever. Your furnace or your flooring is not going to withstand forever. Your furniture will break. Everything degenerates and eventually will be destroyed. And so God says, what are you doing today to plan for that day? So everyone in the structure of their finances needs to be setting some money aside because of what's going to happen in the future. We're not really talking about retirement, though that's an important aspect if that's something you're planning to do. But then also there is the aspect of just maintaining. The simple or the airhead is the picture there, the ignorant person who says, worry about that another day. All of a sudden, like an armed man, consequences come. The hot water heater goes out, it's $500. He doesn't have $200 to his name, he doesn't know what to do. The furnace goes out suddenly, the car stops working. All of these things, they happen. And that's what God is talking about happens, and that's how your poverty comes. That's how the consequences show up. And so here he is talking about maintaining that which you're a steward of. We are responsible to maintain our vehicles that God has given to us. The problem is that we don't really believe God gave them to us. We believe we worked hard and we went and got it. That's called secular humanism. Everything we have is a gift from our Father above. And He delights in providing for His children. The problem is we take ownership of that which belongs to God that has been given on loan to us to use and to steward for God's glory, but we tend to think they're ours. And we need to maintain our houses. One of the things that's a huge priority, but has been mentioned many times by people who visit or have come to our church, is the condition by which we keep our facilities up. You know, there's a lady that comes and maintains our grounds and our flower beds and all of these things. And she does it because it's a passion of hers, but it's also a testimony of her work ethic. And here we're talking about what lazy people who just can't make a priority of stuff that needs to be maintained, needs to be addressed, needs to be fixed up. And they just let things go and let things go and let things go. Well, they don't get better. They just keep getting worse. And so our text says, I went by the field of the slothful and the vineyard of the man void of understanding. This is the same person who is lazy and he just doesn't understand the path of wisdom. He's not willing to walk the way that brings glory to God. And that's by maintaining that which has been entrusted to you as a good steward. And God is saying, you know, lazy people, it tends to show up around them. And you don't want that testimony. God doesn't want you to bear His name with that kind of a testimony. I've entitled this, Don't Be Lazy. In other words, make sure you're addressing what it is that you're a steward of. We're a steward of our bodies. We're a steward of our finances. We're a steward of of the gospel. We're a steward of our houses. We're a steward of our vehicles. We're a steward of our clothes. We're a steward of our opportunities. There are so many things God has given to us. Lazy people tend to just let them go and not address them and not let them bring about their full potential. But a person who is prudent, a person who is on the path of wisdom, looks down the road and says, okay, I'm going to stand before God and give an account as a steward. What does God want me to be doing today to prepare for that day? How does He want me to take care of the house He has provided for me? How would He like for me to take care of the finances that He has provided for me? What would He like for me to do with the time He has given to me? And we could go on and on. There's another couple in our church. As you walk into the entryway, you'll see the bricks along the way are brand new and beautiful. And when they replaced those, they simply said this to me. Pastor, in a message, you said one time, as part of our church, as members of our church, if you see something that is a burden to you that you can do, don't ask someone else to do it. And don't wait on someone else to do it. Just figure out how you're going to do it. And you know what? They did that, and it looks beautiful. You know what that reminds me of? The heart of the diligent. The heart of people who are looking for opportunities to be good stewards of that which God has entrusted to us. You know, I could go on and on and on with many, many illustrations. But you want to know what? God just simply says, don't get in the habit of being lazy. It's habit forming. Make sure that you're making a priority of being a good steward and maintaining that which God has entrusted to you. May God bless you. I'll see you again tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.